Hello and welcome to this edition of the Time with Hime podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Cordes, joined by our superintendent, Mr. Hime. Hello, you're back.
Yep, we're back. You know, we started this podcast kind of as a COVID summary to keep our parents and our staff and our families updated on how we're doing with COVID. And, you know, we're doing awesome.
It's turned into something, I hope, phenomenal for you guys and for us. And it's a great way of sharing information. And we were here Monday and we're back again, second time.
Well, let's share our COVID numbers. What are they right now?
Well, we just updated it. And if things don't change by the end of the day, we have 2 staff members and 10 students right now. So that's a way different number than...
we're getting there. We're getting closer to normal. And that's exciting for all of us because that's one of the things we strive for is to get back to normal.
And we hope so. And vaccinations are happening. We have, the Friday second dose round at Lawton High School scheduled prior to our 26th virtual day.
Yes, and we got a couple days in there because this week on Friday, we're going to have the second dose for those who took their first dose on February 9th, so it's going to start getting confusing.
I know.
But our large group of staff members off of the virtual day on February 22nd, we have another district-wide virtual day scheduled for March 26th to get all of them their second dose.
And that's a Friday.
Yes, and it is a Friday, and we'll continue to announce that because our virtual Fridays for our secondary students are high school only.
Yes.
Start this week. And it's created a little confusion because, we've had calls and parents have called and said, well, my child said we had them all. We're going totally virtual.
No.
And so even some confusion at the local school. So hopefully we get that cleared up. And it still is a lot about subs. And subs have been so hard to find this year with the activities and so many activities on Fridays. We just didn't feel we could cover those classes safely. So we went to the virtual Fridays.
And it seems this is our first one, so we'll see how it goes. But I do know there's a lot of activity because I'm getting a lot of celebrations of all what our kids are doing, academically and through athletics.
Yeah, and the celebration goes there because a lot of our activities, we moved them to Fridays, as many as we could. So the academic time or instructional time at the high schools won't be disrupted as much Monday through Thursday. We try to push all the disruptions to Friday during the virtual time. So we'll see how it goes in the end. There's a chance in the end we may end up with more face-to-face learning than normal in this time of the year by doing this.
And when we met earlier this week, we talked about the Life Ready Center and the Tomlinson rumors. Let's kind of go in because we did receive some questions.
Yes.
Just kind of feedback. And one of them was, what is the Life Ready Center? And what is it about?
When we started talking about this way back when I first got here and we started talking about a plan to create a platform or a location where students could be access numerous educational opportunities. The first thing you hear people call it, it's a university center. There's a lot of high schools, large 6A high schools that have university centers. And usually a university center will be where the students get their AP classes and they get their concurrent classes and they combine it together. And so just since students are there trying to obtain college credit, it's called a university center. Some schools have STEM centers where it's, science, technology, engineering, and math. They locate that there. Again, that ties in with some of the AP class, but it would also have maybe some chemistry labs or biology labs or different things, but it concentrates on engineering, a fab lab, a giant maker space, and even in this day and age, you could have esports and some of those. Well, we didn't want to be tied to just call it this, the STEM center or the university center, and then some people said, what about a college and career ready center? Well, we didn't want to be just that. So we came up with a term that's being used out there. We didn't make the term up, but a life ready center because we wanted to all aspects of students. And that's probably the biggest goal we have with it. It's easy to put AP classes in there and get Cameron to put a few classes, bring some instructors over and have that university center part. It's easy to have something that really is very beneficial to your academic students. But when you start talking about all your students, there's some things and there will be some challenges. And that's the goal we have, is to find a way where every student takes a look at it to see if there's something there that could benefit them.
And we did talk about those concurrent classes, AP classes, but in addition, the home ec and
Yes.
and arts and
now they
music.
don't get mad. You called it home ec.
I'm sorry. Family and Consumer Science, SCCLA.
It's a very simple concept because we have one of those classes. Eisenhower High School is the only one that offers it, and the teacher at Eisenhower High School has already volunteered to say, hey, I could come over there and teach for an hour or two, and that would give access to Lawton High and MacArthur High School students who would like to take FCCLA. So it expands that where all students, and again, that's kind of your goal. What can we do to create more opportunities for all of our students? How can we take all of our great teachers and great programs and make them available for all of our students? And so that's kind of the, how do we affect more students and give more career opportunities and more opportunities in learning without, even facilities.
Diminishing.
Yeah, facilities are the thing we've talked about. The science lab is just an easy one to, an esports event center, a drone lab. There's just some things you can do there that if you can do them in ones instead of, if we can do it once instead of 3 times, it becomes so much more feasible for the district to do it, and it will affect more students.
And you talk about all. So let's talk about how we transition and what the start of it looks like for grade levels. Who will be able to participate next school year?
Well, the early plans are, yes, there will be some AP classes there, some concurrent classes, and the University Center part should grow fairly quick. We've talked with FCCLA, and we think we can move some of that in there for a couple hours. Even the career tech teachers who teach on our campus that come from the career tech, the introduction classes and things, there's a chance we could locate all of them there next year. Again, we're going to do the difference we have, and the mindset we're trying to change throughout the district, and it's kind of difficult, is instead of plugging teachers in where they go and then cramming the students into what the teachers do, let's find out what the students want to do and what their interests are, and then let's find how we can use our teachers to give the students those opportunities. And that's kind of a flip of how we've done education for years. Even myself, usually the first thing you do is, well, we got these teachers, let's build them a schedule. You kids, you take whatever, that's what's available, take it. And now how do we, even in the middle school level, how do we find a way to, make, our student interest level has to have some value to what we're offering. And that's our ultimate goal, is to expand our offerings so our students can take classes that they're interested in.
And as they prepare for post-secondary,
yes,
where they're looking at.
Whether it's college, career ready, military, or trade, family, family business, or whatever.
Now, a question that came from our podcast on Monday is, what does it look like for SPED in the Life Ready Center?
Somebody gave me a simple one, and again, that's another challenge we have. How do we, obviously we want to include them in anything that they can be mainstreamed and be included in. So obviously SPED students take FCLA, SPED students take some introduction to career classes. But other things we've even talked about is if we have some of our agricultural programs there, we could do a school garden, and our SPED students could definitely take part in some of those things. So obviously, that's going to be the challenge we have. But when we use the term all, and if we continue to use the term all, and all means everyone, then we know the challenge is not just to concentrate on the 5 or 10%. That's the easy. How we include the other 90, that's going to be difficult.
Now, this year we have concurrent classes in the building.
Yes.
And we did have a student question that asked, what does it look like for them if the concurrent classes go to the Life Ready Center, and the transportation? How is that going to look for students right now?
Yeah, our ultimate goal right now is we'll have a bus and a driver for each high school that runs shuttles every hour back and forth, and we'll try to create a schedule where students can go from one building to the other without missing classes. Now, there does get to be a little bit of transportation time, but it's like I told somebody, an hour and a half of quality instruction and an interest level is better than 2 hours of instruction in something you don't want. So hopefully we may lose a little bit of time to travel, but the instruction and the interest level will be so high at the Life Ready Center that the lost time, the value of your instruction will exceed the lost time.
And all that is still being worked and discussed, and making sure that everything flows well for our students. So it's the best interest.
The whole start is, how many students do we have? How many students do we that are going to be interested in this? What, it's that, chicken or egg, is we roll it out, and we've used that term, small bites out of the elephant. We just know we got to get moving on it, because if we don't start rolling on it, it's something that if you put it off and say, well, let's wait till next year, 3 years from now, you're going to say, hey, this is a great idea, but let's wait till next year. So that's the challenge. Get started, take that first step, that first bite, and now let's move forward as fast as we can. And that's the exciting part about getting somebody like Charlotte Oates, our Lawton High principal. She's been the principal of all our high schools. She's very known in our community. She's been in public education in Lawton for years, and her taking that leadership role and touching it every day, she's going to be able to grow it faster than if it becomes part of my job or part of the ed services team. So it'll be her. She'll be the number one go-to person, and she'll sell it, and hopefully we can make it a valuable asset to students sooner than later.
A lot of great things to come with the Life Ready
Yes.
Center. I really am excited about what that looks like for us. The other thing we talked about was Douglas.
Yes.
And making that into a professional development center, but we also know Douglas houses other entities for the district. Can you share, what that professional development center looks like in relation to Douglas?
Well, the professional development center, we talk about Douglas. If you're on the east side of the building, which is even the northeast side, you have the old classrooms with their band rooms and their auditorium, even their locker room area. If we can redo that area and restructure some of those large rooms and make them into state-of-the-art professional development rooms, and redo the auditorium, we're talking about putting air conditioning in the auditorium, some of those things that were discussed, then we can utilize that portion of the building. So really the Professional Development Center is really concentrating on the northeast corner of the building. So we're gonna upgrade it. Now, if you drive by there today, you'll notice that our maintenance people and some other crews, they've cleaned up the front of it, and it's looking really good. They've cleaned up some old trees that had gotten a little bit ragged, and so we're in communication with the alumni association of that group, and then obviously it's our building. So we're working together to try to do the things to make that building a useful part of our school, because that's one thing we've talked about, and one thing that I was challenged when I got here is we had a lot of empty buildings in the district. We either needed to sell those buildings or make them valuable to us, and we've gotten pretty close. We remodeled Brocklin, and we use it for a special education service center, and we've talked about that because we just talked about this, and we can roll into enrollment right now because we're talking to parents as we speak about Washington and John Adams. Because when we got ready to go back to school this year and we talked face-to-face, our numbers were so low, it wasn't feasible to try to have face-to-face at those sites. And we're trying to find if we have enough parents to open those back up for face-to-face learning, because we really don't want to close buildings. But if you had to say right now from our early numbers, Washington would continue to be an elementary virtual school for us, where all of our elementary virtual teachers would be hired. And John Adams, we'll just have to see, as we move forward, hopefully we have enough students. If not, we have some other ideas that we could use it for. Because, again, the ultimate goal, don't close buildings, don't leave them, find places to use them, because that broadens us, So we're excited about some of the things to come. We need to make partnerships, in the fact we're partnering with Cameron and Career Tech and Great Plains, and NIMSY now is on board, and we're talking to them. And the foundation is helped buying
Makerspaces.
Yes. So it's going to be a community team effort to move us forward into the 2020s.
And you mentioned teachers reaching out to virtual families to see what it looks like for them next year. What are our programs, and how do they look for virtual as we move into the next school year?
Yeah, our ultimate goal is, again, it's a need base. If we have enough parents that want night virtual, to fill night virtual teachers will do so. And we're going to work with our parents, again, to continue to have as much flexibility as we can. And if you're a virtual student right now or a parent of virtual children, you need to make sure, because our ultimate goal is to keep that option available for you if it's working for you. So be sure and communicate with the school and such. We're going to do some things better. We still think we're doing a really good job. I think our virtual teachers have been out of this world this year. I think our virtual program is one of the best out there, and we're going to continue to grow it and make it better, and make that, again, an opportunity our parents have year after year, and continue, again, to use staff development, professional development, improve our resources so that we can offer quality education virtually.
And let's give an update. We have some of the schools. Edison was moved to Adams. How is that progress going, and how is MacArthur Middle School?
The Edison kids are great. They love it. The pre-K and K are at Learning Tree, hearing great things about that. They're moving on MacArthur Middle School. I know they're putting some sheetrock in. We're still hoping to be back after spring break, and I'm sure the parents have their middle schools, including you.
I think mine's ready to go back.
I'm sure that more so than the parents, the students are ready to go back. As I said, those students and parents chose face-to-face learning for a reason. And so I'm sure they're ready to get back into class, and hopefully we have that ready. It looks like it to be on schedule to be ready by then. So
that's great.
It's just the those are the struggles you have sometime with damages. Again, with the Edison side of it, it's going to be later on before we get it ready. But we're pretty.
And theirs was the floor when we were talking about the loss. The loss came to the flooring and the drywall.
Walls, yes,
but not the building itself. That was kind of yes.
No, yeah. When they take the floors out and redo all the floors and the walls, and we could have came in there and jerked a lot out and made it look like a building under construction and stuffed kids back in it, and they're just not safe. And we wanted to make sure we were safe and people felt comfortable. It was one of those hard decisions to move them, but right now, again, that's another shout out to the staff and teachers. They just stepped up, and I really haven't heard any complaints about it, and that's amazing because and
our families have been great about that move.
If you moved me in the middle of February, I wouldn't be real happy about it, and our parents and everyone. So shout out to all of you for understanding and making the best of a not so good situation.
Let's continue the celebrations. What's going on around the district that you want to give a shout out?
Well, we had 3 academic all-staters.
Yes, we did. We had 2 at MacArthur and 1 at Lawton High, Nathaniel, Caitlin, and Anna.
So awesome. Congratulations to them. Academic All-State's always been a big thing to me personally. I've always encouraged and excited to see students make that. It's an honor. They picked 50 to 100 in the state of Oklahoma.
And they're top 100.
They're top 100. That is awesome. So congratulations to those, and a big shout out for representing Lawton with 3 academic All-Staters.
Anything else you want to celebrate?
We got both MacArthur boys and girls are playing with a chance to go to the state tournament in girl basketball. So it'd be great to see both teams make the state basketball tournament kind of next weekend. They're playing Thursday and Friday of this week, and then next week. So hopefully by the time some people listen to this, we have 2 teams in the state tournament possibly.
Ooh, cross our fingers.
Yeah, cross our fingers. That would be awesome. Big shout out to them for making it to the regional finals and so the area finals, I guess. So exciting to them. So so we're excited about that.
And I was going to say, the weather has been beautiful.
Incredible. Just Oklahoma 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
2 weeks ago, we were -7 and buried under snow and all in our house freezing to death. And today it's 70 and beautiful.
Which reminds me, which is why I brought it up, because our tennis courts,
yes,
they look great with our kids out there. I don't know if you guys have looked at our social media, but thank you to the McMahon Foundation.
Yes, and our people who got out and got that done, and they've cleaned up around them, and we're still going to try to upgrade the fences around them. But a big shout out. It's kind of nice when I drive by. I told somebody once that a long time ago, early in my career, I was the tennis coach at Woodward, so I understand tennis. I played tennis growing up, and not saying I can.
We've
play
got to
anymore.
get you out there to play. We got to get you out there.
I hear you. Don't even know if I could find my racket, but shout out to them, and I enjoy watching tennis. So I'm looking for some great days to get out and cheer on some of our fine young men and ladies who are playing tennis and putting that time in. The spring is just that time you're supposed to get out and go see things. We're getting further beyond the COVID where you feel comfortable getting out, the outdoor sports. So hopefully I can get out more and watch the competition and cheer on the students of Lawton Public Schools.
And we have to remind our families, not this week, but next week, we actually are going to get some more daylight to our day because we're going to spring forward. Anything else you want to mention?
Just shout out to our people and keep looking forward. I know that maybe the Tomlinson people and the parents who go to those schools, we're working on that. We're working on a parent survey over uniforms that you're pushing
that will go out
to see, because that's kind of been a back and forth in our district. Do the parents want it? Do the parents not? Do the teachers want it? Do the teachers not? Do the principals want it?
That's for elementary too.
For the elementary, pre-K through 5, and we're going to send that out. We're going to start sending out the options the Tomlinson parents will have as we move forward with that, as to the flexibility in creating those transportation zones of what schools they can go to and what schools we'll transfer them to. Because that's one thing we've talked about. If you provide your own transportation, we're pretty open enrollment in the district. Now, remember, when we say open enrollment, that's for educational purpose. Your athletic purposes still go through OSSA rules and in our athletic rules. But as far as educational, we're pretty open. We're pretty wide open. So, we'll start having those discussions with those parents, and hopefully they get to choose their options. And again, we all get excited about some of the things we're going to do pre-K through 12 for all of our students next year and moving forward to expand our educational opportunities.
And just as a reminder to our families, we're still 1 more week away, but spring break is coming.
Yes.
And so mark your calendars, and we will be ready for that. I know everybody, hopefully great weather that week.
Yes, we need some great weather. It's kind of we got a winter break, but getting a winter break cooped up in the house is not a winter break. most of us, a lot of us worked anyway, but working from home or whatever. But I like to work in my yard. People that know me, I like to get out and work in it. And I'm like, I was looking at it the other day, and there's way too much green foreign weeds in my yard right now. I'd love to get some nice days to get out there and work in my yard and just enjoy the weather.
I'll cross my fingers for that to happen. Mr. Hime, anything else before we leave?
Thank you, and thank you to all of our people. Let's keep working. In the INFO, please share your questions. We've got a few more, and some of those we passed. Lynn and I talk about it to different people. Hey, if you asked something in the last week or two and you don't feel like you got responded, feel to resend it, because sometimes in moving them and trying to get them to the right people to answer the right questions, I'm sure we're not perfect in getting those answered. We do try to answer them either in this podcast or some kind of response back to you. So feel free to resend those, and we'll try to get with you.
And we appreciate your time. We appreciate your time, Mr. Hime. Until next week. I won't keep you twice next week, just one time. So thank you, guys. Be well, stay safe, make positive impacts. And until then, have a great weekend.